Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Ahmed Biston Habib and I am going to talk about how we should live mindfully. I bet all of you are familiar about the phrase think before you speak. Are you not wondering why this phrase is very well known? It's because everyone has its right to talk about anything without them thinking its effect to others. That's why join me in discussing how we should really think before we speak. Living mindfully means we should be aware in our surroundings. We should be mindful about what's happening around us. We should be sensitive about what we are going to do in order to refrain ourselves from affecting other people. That's why in order to live mindfully, we should remember that thinking before speaking is a must. What is the guideline for mindful speech? Well, first of all, we're going to run a fact check about the thing that we are going to say, whether it's true or not. And it's really important that we are going to tell is true. So false rumors will not be spread. Even if we think that we are going to say is true, we should not really base on assumption. Hence, we should have a legit proof that will support what we are going to say. Next, we are going to assess if the thing that we'll say will be helpful, because given the circumstances that we are going to say will harm other people instead of helping them, then it's better that we should not tell it. Third is we're going to analyze if you're the best person that will say it, because if there are better options that will not involve you, then I think it's better to exclude yourself from the given situation, because sometimes even if we're telling the truth and what we are going to say is helpful, there are really times that we are not the best person to say it, because it will just complicate things. So again, if there are other better option, then let's push it through. Fourth is we are going to think deeply if we should really say it now, because if given the chance that it's not really important to tell it right away, then give it a second thought before you really say it. Think about it twice before you tell it. And lastly, we should really consider if what we are going to say is kind to that person, because if we realize that we are going to tell will just offend that person, then it's better to stop ourselves from saying what we should say, even if it's true, helpful, and necessary. If it's not kind to say to the other people, then we should not. So again, the guidelines for living mindfully or having a mindful speech is we are going to assess if what we are going to tell is true, helpful, urgent, kind to the other people, and lastly is if we are the best candidate to say it. After assessing and the result is yes, then you say it. If not, then don't. If one of them is not present, for example, it's not helpful, hence it's true and very urgent to say and kind to the people, but the fact that it's not helpful, then we should not say it. It's a must that guidelines for mindful speech is all present, because living mindfully is like being an artist. You need the right tools to practice your craft, and you need to constantly refine your technique to achieve your creative potential. In the same way, using the present moment tools below will help you to hone a consistent mindfulness practice that will in time lead to a more aware, compassionate, and fulfilling way of life. So here are some tools that we should do in order to live mindfully. First, we should breathe mindfully. We are going to use our breath as an anchor to focus back to the present, since sometimes we could forget what is necessary. So we should really master breathing mindfully for us to be aware and for us to be mindful about what's happening. Second is tool number 2. We should listen deeply. As we listen with intention, we let others fully express themselves and focus on understanding how they think and feel, because sometimes in order to live mindfully, we should think the shoe of the other people. we should learn and analyze what will they feel. It's important for us to learn about it as we feel empathy with them, so we should listen deeply to other people for us to know what they would feel. Next tool is the tool number 3. We should cultivate insight and see life as it, for us to allow each experience to be an opportunity for learning. This also is a great tool in living mindfully. We should stay optimistic about life and learn that in every failure that we experience, we should not see it as a bad luck. Hence, we should look at it in the other side, that by failing at least we learn something from it, and we should bring that failure in our journey for us to refrain ourselves from doing it again. And every opportunity, whether it's successful or not, what is important is the learning we get from it. So those are the tools that I've discussed in order to live mindfully. So the next reporter will discuss about the other tools that are remaining. Always remember that everything we say should be true. However, not everything true should be said. Again, I am Ahmed Biston Habib. Thank you for listening.